Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome to Client Support 201. Yesterday, Jamil led us through Client Support 101, and now I get the opportunity to help us get through Client Support 201. So my name is Dominic Bazerto. I'm an integrated regional director with Take Shape for Life, and my wife and I, we've been coaching. It'll be 3 years coming up. So I hope to be able to share some things with you guys today around client support, around maybe some tools that can help you with our clients, and maybe some ideas that you can help put your clients through some exercises so really they can make better choices themselves. Because when we get down to it, it's their choice to be healthy, and it's not your choice for them to be healthy. So it's their choice, it's their journey, okay? So how many of you guys out there have had a client that has, say, lost, by a show of hands, lost 20 pounds or more, right? Good stuff, right? And it goes on and on. I've had a client lose 120 pounds. So there's a wide range. You could go anywhere from 5 to 120 pounds. But now you don't have to raise your hands on this one. But blink your eyes at me if you had a client maybe, lose 5, 7 pounds their first week, and then the next week you never saw from them again. You never heard from them again. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm such a horrible coach. What happened? They're gone. Well, I'm here to tell you it happens to all of us, but it's not your fault. Because ask yourself, did I do anything different with my client that lost 120 pounds or over 20 pounds, whatever it may be, than I did with the client that only lost 5 to 7 and then took off and I never heard from them again? That was avoiding me. All right, so you didn't do anything different. So now I'm going to walk you through, because we need to realize that it's not our choice, but it's their choice. So I'm going to share my screen right now and get into the presentation. All right. Health is a choice, but it's not your choice. A wise man ought to realize that health is his most valuable possession. This quote is from Hippocrates. So everybody here has realized that in one way, shape, or form, that our health is very important, because those around us, they depend on us, and we have goals in the future, and they can only happen if we're healthy. And many of our clients, they have the same realization that health is valuable, but they may not have the same commitment to it, or they may not have the same why, or they're not connected to their why, and thus their choices are affected. So health is a choice, but it's not your choice. It's their choice to make. So there's 3 types of choices that we're going to talk about today. The first one is the fundamental choices that an individual can make. It's kind of like the broad choice. They make the choice that they want optimal health. They want to get healthy. That's the fundamental choice. The second type of choice is a primary choice. And those are things that you may see, like, I want to lose 50 pounds, or I need to get to a healthy BMI, or, I want to come off some medications. Those are the primary choices. And then we're going to also go over secondary choices. Those are going to be some of the action steps that can help us hit our primary choices, but they're going to be the day-to-day choices. So 3 types of choices we're going to cover: fundamental, primary, and secondary. And then I'm going to give you some tools too to go along with it. It's going to be fun. So fundamental choices. This is what defines our state of being. It's where we stand. It's what we believe. It's what we are shooting for. They're putting their stake in the ground, and I'm going to get healthy. That's what we've done. Most of us decided to become health coaches because we made the fundamental choice that health is important to us, and I'm going to stay healthy regardless of what happens around me. Health is important to me. So the example that I want to use for today, obviously we're health coaches, it's optimal health. Optimal health is an example of a fundamental choice, okay? But first, in order to make that fundamental choice, we need to connect that to their why, okay? A why is so important because you can make the choice to get healthy, but if you don't know why you made that choice, when the going gets tough, you're probably going to go back to some of the old habits. Your clients are probably going to go back to doing what they did before they reached out to you. So whys, what are some common whys that we talk about? We talk about getting healthy for our family so we can be around longer. We talk about, getting healthy and maybe losing weight to identify with my past self. Maybe I was a college athlete, and then I gained some weight, and now I look in the mirror and it's just so depressing. My confidence is down. I just can't relate anymore to who I am. My why is, I've heard some pretty big whys. I heard a why that we had a client that they needed to lose 50 pounds so they can have surgery to donate a kidney to their brother that was passing away, that was on his deathbed, and they needed a kidney and they were the only match. So they needed to lose that weight to be able to do that. Now that's a pretty big why. And we don't hear those all the time, but a why is something that you will be able to bring your client back to when the going gets tough. So why? When we're talking with them, ask them, why optimal health? Okay. Now we have to realize that our job isn't to convince them of their why or project our why onto them. Like maybe we see them and we're like, oh man, you need to do this because you have a whole family and you have so much influence and everybody looks up to you and your family, and you need to get healthy. But if it's our projection of a why onto them, it's never going to work. So we need them to discover it on their own. Okay. We can't want their why more than they want it. So this has to come from within, their why. So our role as a health coach is help them to discover it and to do our best to keep them connected to it. Now, do our best. What is doing our best? Our best is being there to support them, trying to give them some tools, give them some exercises to do with their minds, maybe a workbook or a book, or showing them where, or telling them where they can get some information so they can learn. So our job isn't to do it for them. Our job isn't to want it more than they want it. Our job is to help them intrinsically discover it and to, help do our best to keep that at their forefront. So when we're talking to them and when we're having our check-ins, and if we notice they're struggling or what's going on, our job is to try to bring them back to their why. Okay. So how does that sound though? How does their why, how can I bring that out of them in a conversation? Right now we're using optimal health as their fundamental choice, but how does connecting a why relate to that? What are some questions that I need to ask? Okay, you're probably going to ask these questions when you're in an explorer call with an individual, or if you call it an interested call with that's when you're probably going to be asking them when you're trying to discover their goal for why to get healthy. So here's some questions that can help you. If you need to write this down, write them down. What does optimal health look like to you? So what does it look like to them? Have them paint a picture of what it looks like, because everybody's picture is different, okay? Everybody's picture is painted because they have their own experiences, they have their own environment that they're a part of, and they have their own goals in mind. So you can't just say that everybody's optimal health looks like 5'10", 170 pounds, just ripped in muscle with the, that doesn't look like optimal health to an individual that may be in their late 60s or early 70s. That optimal health may look like to them is, hey, I just want to have a healthy BMI and I just want to be off my medications and controlling my sugars and cholesterol on my own. I just want my blood pressure to be normalized. So what does optimal health look like to them? Paint that picture, have them paint that picture for you, okay? Ask them when you're in that conversation, when was the last time you were at that health? Was it 5 years ago? 10 years ago? Have you ever been at that health? Maybe it was before a major accident that they had in their life. Who knows? But when was the last time? Because what we're trying to do is to get them to go back into that state of when they could remember how that feeling was. And if they have never felt it, it's going to be exciting because now they're going to start to dream and they're going to start to think about, and they're going to have that picture already painted. And they're going to be like, man, that is what I want. Oh man, I got little goosebumps right now. Woo, getting pumped. Sorry. So when was the last time you were at that health? What were some of the things that you're unable to do now that you did back then? For some people, they used to run marathons. They used to ride bikes all the time. They used to roll around with their kids on the floor and play with them. And now they no longer can. So some of them used to go hiking. Some of them used to work out all the time. And now they get tired walking out to the parking lot, you know? They get tired walking up the stairs of their house. Maybe they can't. Maybe they had to change bedrooms because they just can't do it anymore. So what were some of the things that you're unable to do now that you used to do back then when you were in that health? What are some things that you want to be able to do? Maybe it's, I want to be able to walk from my work to my car in the parking lot without breaking out in a sweat. Maybe it's, I want to be able to run a mile. Maybe it's, I want to be able to walk a mile on a treadmill and I haven't been able to do it in 19 years. That's somebody had told me that one time, and I'll tell you now, that individual lost 120 pounds and now he's running 10Ks. So what are some of the things that you want to be able to do? Get them in that state. Have them picking, because now they're dreaming. Now they're starting to see, like, this is what I'm going for, okay? I want to be able to play with my grandchildren. I want to be around as long as possible for my family and for my kids, because my parents were diabetic and they passed away at an early age, and I don't want that for my family. I see myself going down the wrong path, and I want to make that change right now. I want to be able to be there for them. So what are some things that you want to be able to do? How would getting healthy affect the people you love, or the ones that you love the most? What kind of changes would happen in their lives if you got healthy? They would get their mom back, their father back. Maybe the individual is doing it and maybe they don't need as much help to get healthy, but they're providing that example because there's somebody that they truly care about that really needs to get healthy. And they know that that person's not going to get healthy unless they get healthy. So maybe they're the ones that are going to make that change and create a mini community because their family is sick or their family has been overweight their entire life and they've lost loved ones. I've known somebody that's coached an individual and he wanted to get healthy himself so he can be the example for his family. And let me tell you, now his family's lost over 550 pounds. Wow. That is affecting the people that you love and that you love the most. So primary choices. Primary choices. We talked about why and asking questions to help connect them to the why. And now let's talk about primary choices. Those are the choices or goals that are going to help support your fundamental choice. Okay. So the fundamental choice is the optimal health. Okay. That's like, when we look at, it's like an upside down triangle. As we go through this, you're going to see it's kind of like a funnel, but optimal health is going to be on top. And now some examples of these primary choices, kind of went over some earlier, but I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay. Losing 50 pounds is the primary choice. Coming off medications, diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure, whatever it may be, they want to come off medications. And that's going to help them get to optimal health because the medications right now, they're just masking the problem. Coming off medications, it's an example. Getting to a healthy BMI. These are choices and ways that they're measurable, that we can see actually happen to help us get to our fundamental choice of being optimally healthy. So to get an idea of what some of these look like, so you could kind of start thinking about them and they can start thinking about what they want in their life, we have to look at the foundations of health. So in chapter 4 of Dr. A's book, he goes over the foundations of health, and they include healthy eating, including like vital nutrient support. So if the individual is trying to lose 50 pounds, healthy eating is going to be one of those foundations that they're going to have to focus on. Healthy weight, normal waist size, that's part of it, going to help them. An active lifestyle, including a daily activity program, maybe walking, a flexibility stretching program, strength conditioning, something like that is going to be a foundation to help them get to that healthy BMI and to help them lose that 50 pounds. So this is a foundation that we're looking at. Recuperative sleep. I mean, how many of us know our clients, or how many of you get recuperative sleep? Sleep is super important to your health and to weight loss. So let's talk about that. So individuals are aware, they're conscious of that. Try to get their 6 to 8 hours, right around there, 7 hours of their sleep. Relaxation. I mean, how many people burn the candle on both ends? How many people are workaholics? How many people are just killing themselves on a day-to-day basis? So relaxation, are they taking some time for themselves? Are they getting that quiet time? Is there a micro environment of health that surrounds them? Their mini community around them, their family. Maybe it's inside their house, what they have around, is their cabinets stocked with sweets, or are they stocked with healthy Optavia bars and shakes and things like that? What's the environment look like around the individual? Well-being. People, I think this is something that we overlook a lot, is stress in people's life. Do they have a purpose, a meaning? Do they feel value? Are they fulfilled spiritually and personally? Are they getting that feeling? Because we all know that our trilogy, it touches on a healthy body, a healthy mind, and healthy finances. And we know if the mind's not right, it's going to lead to some other bad habits that we can have, and it's going to lead us in that direction to unhealthy body. So what does their stress level look like? What kind of activities are they involved in? Do they have a sense of belonging and some purpose and meaning behind what they're doing? And then we look at the support system. The support system is us. As health coaches, it's us. Do they have a support system, though, that they can lean on? Are we encouraging them to be involved in the client support groups? Are we encouraging them to take advantage of the doctor's calls, the nurses' calls, reaching out to nutrition support if they have questions? Are we giving them the tools so they can be successful, that they're not only just depending on us? Because what if we're not there for whatever reason? Are we their only, foundation of support that they have? Or are we arming them with tools for their tool belt so they can go out there and continue to be healthy much longer than us being around? So once they transition off the program and they go into maintenance, yes, we'll still be there for them, but do they have tools? Are they armed? Are they ready to go out in the world and do well for themselves and not have to worry about the weight coming back? Maybe it's them becoming a health coach that is part of their support system. I know for myself, just being a health coach makes me focus on my habits way more, and that goal is always top of mind, to shoot for optimal health. It's evolved. It's gone from body to now mind and now finances. It's all evolving. So what's that support system look like for your client? Making sure that they're integrated and taking advantage of everything that our gift has to offer to them. So some tools that you can use to help measure, help discover their why, help you kind of keep track of where they're at, so you can kind of see if they're straying from what they've told you that they really want. These are some tools to help you find out what they really want. So the well-being evaluation, if you don't have this or you don't know where to get it and you want to start using it, reach out to your mentor coaches, but you can get them You can have your clients fill them out right on your website where they order, and they can go on the dashboard and fill them out. You get an email. It's awesome. And it'll ask them questions about their healthy body, where they're at as far as weight, exercise, things like that, their mind, finances, and then they're going to get a result of where they're at now and where they would want to be. So I can tell you, we just had somebody fill one of these out and send it to us. And this was before we had the conversation. It was an old client that had been a client, lost some weight, fell off, and then was coming back. And her scores, quite frankly, I felt horrible. I think it was a 15 or 16 out of 60. She was rating herself almost in every category a 1. Yeah. We made phone calls, and yes, she's back on plan. We're back in this, but we've had those conversations, but this really gave us a snapshot of everything that we can offer her from what we have, everything from the gift that we have that we can give to her. So she's going to be looking into not only the program and getting back to her healthy body and getting her mind going, but also into coaching. So this is a very important tool, the well-being evaluation. Another one that you should have in your client tracker, it should be the well-being tracker. And this is when you're filling it out when you're having an Explorer call. Maybe you're on a 3-way call with your mentor coach, and this is who you're talking to, and it gives spot to put in all their goals for their body, their mind, their finances, long-term goals, short-term goals. You could put their why on there. It has everything, and you put this in your client tracker in your binder, and then you're going to have it with you. So every time you have a check-in with them, you open it up, you go to it, and you take more and more notes on it. So this just gives you a line of sight every time you're talking with your client from where they were in the beginning to where they are now, and how they're feeling, how their progress is going or whatnot. So then you have their why on there. So you're having that check-in, and you know what? They've been AWOL for the last 2 weeks, and you finally get them on the phone, and now you're having a conversation with them and says, hey, back when you first started the program, you had mentioned that you needed to get in better health because you wanted to be around for your grandchildren, that you had a lot of complications from type 2 diabetes, and you're on a lot of medications for other things as well, blood pressure, that you're masking all the problems, and you want to be around as long as possible for your grandchildren. Is this something that's still important to you? Wow, it's powerful because you're talking to them, and maybe they started 6-7 weeks ago, and now you're going back to what they told you. They're like, man, my coach is on top of it. They're able to bring me back, and now you're able to re-engage them and help them get to where they want to go. You help light that fire inside of them again. Like, yes, you're right. That piece of pie, I don't need that. I don't need that anymore. Even though I love cherry pie, I don't need it anymore because I realize what's important now. So the well-being tracker, awesome document. Now, this is something that I've created, and maybe some of you have used this in your own business. So Jamil talks to us a lot about this. It's structural tension chart, okay? So as you can see, you start down at the bottom on a client's current reality, their starting point, where they're at now, and as you move up, you get towards your goals that they want to hit, or their goals that they want to hit. So this example right here of this chart, they can be very simple. You see how simple this is? Put it down the bottom, arrow going up, goal on top, okay? So this current reality is a BMI. The individual has a BMI of a 30 and a weight of about 209 pounds. I figure it's probably a guy like 5'10", 5'11", something like that. So, but they want to get healthy. They want to get to a BMI that's a healthy BMI, and they want to get down to 179 pounds. I mean, maybe looking at this, it's about 30 pounds in 3 months. 3 months from now, I mean, that can happen. Maybe they put on a little bit of muscle. That's why they're weighing a little bit more. But that up there, that's their primary choices, okay? Optimal health is their foundational choice, but the BMI and the weight where they want to get to 3 months from now, that's the primary choice, okay? So you start at the bottom. We're going to work towards the primary choice. We have some structural tension because we can see our current reality and we know we're not there yet to where we want to go. So there's that tension right there. The rubber band is getting pulled because we're far away from our goal, and we need some action steps in order to be able to do them on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis to help us get there. So that's where our secondary choices are going to come in. And these are things that we want to make sure that we're aware of when we're talking to clients, because we need to know, like, okay, where is the disconnect? Did they have a fundamental choice to get healthy, or was it just something that they randomly fell into? Were they not specific with maybe some of their goals and their primary choices? Or are we not hitting on our secondary choices, like eating 6 times a day? Are they not hitting that? Are they doing some healthy movement, maybe walking for 10 minutes a day, or working out, say 3 times a week, maybe lifting a little weights or something? Those are the secondary choices that are going to lead to the primary choices, okay? That will eventually get them to their fundamental choice. So this is how the structural tension chart works. It works from the bottom to the top. It's a real simple document. You can create this on your own. You can create it for pretty much any goal that you have. It doesn't just have to be health related. It can be anything. It can be financial goal. You just need to put your current reality and starting point and where you want to go, and then maybe some action steps in between, and boom. That's how you would use this chart, structural tension chart. That's why our coaching group, Structural Tension. So now we move into those secondary choices that we talked about. So those are the action steps that are going to support the primary choices. They're the day-to-day behaviors. That's where we're talking to our clients every day about what they're doing as far as their 501 program, if they started doing any walking programs, any exercise, hitting the gym. But these are the day-to-day behaviors that over time, they're going to build a path to optimal health, okay? So eating 6 times a day, protein carb balanced meals, and drinking 100 ounces of water a day, that's an example of a secondary choice. Because though it may be insignificant if you do it for 1 day, but over time and you continue to do it, you're going to see massive results. They're going to skyrocket. They're going to compound. You're going to get that compound effect, and it's just going to take off. Same thing, walk in 10 minutes a day, 3 times a week for 3 months. Another example. And I will lift weights 3 times a week for 30 minutes each time. Can you kind of see where we're going with these secondary choices? These are the little steps. So as a coach, it's kind of our job to kind of see, where's this individual at? You know, which choice is off? Do they not have a clearly defined why for their fundamental choice? You know, maybe their primary choices, we weren't specific. So they're just kind of out there just flailing. And, you know, it's kind of like one of those things, you know, that if you don't know where you're going, or if you don't know where you're at, how do you know where you're going type deal? If they don't know where they want to go, how are you ever supposed to get there? You know? So secondary choices, day to day, though insignificant over time, you're going to see crazy, crazy results. So a little chart here that kind of explains the effects of our choices. You can get this out of, it's in Dr. A's Habits of Health book. It's also in the Living Longer, Healthier Life workbook. But you can see the white line that goes across the middle, that's time. Those are the months, okay? And then the little dots that you'll see, some that are going up in green, some that are going down in red, those are your secondary choices, okay? Those are if you're working out 3 times a week, if you're getting your movement in, you're sticking to the 5 and 1, those are the green dots. Boom, boom, boom. You're going up. You're moving up through the non-sick up to thriving optimal health. And that's where we want them to be. That's where we want to be. Or there's the eating of the cheeseburger and then the pizza and then let me give the French fries and you know what, throw a alcohol on top of it, maybe a glass of wine or a beer to wash it down. Those choices over time, they're going to have a crazy significant effect. So this is something that you can look at, you can relate to, or you can relate your client to so they can see it. But if you look in the beginning, in the first month or whatnot, you don't see really any difference. You don't see any difference. So if you're eating a cheeseburger today, probably not going to have a great effect on your overall health. But if you eat 30 cheeseburgers in the next 30 days, you're probably going to see some effect towards, going on your health. You're probably going to start going to the unhealthy, to the sick side of things. But then again, if those choices are the 5 and 1, they're the 100 ounces of water, they're the exercise 3 times a week, there's the walking 10 minutes a day, those over time, they may not have an effect today if you do it, but if you continue to do those, boom, and you see the difference, they're worlds apart on the screen, and that's 6-7 months down the road. It's the difference between life and death at some points. So an exercise that we can do, this, I'm not going to lie, I had some fun with some of these slides coming up. Okay, so an exercise, stop, challenge, choose. Dr. A wrote a whole ebook about it, and this is kind of what it's going to give our clients awareness of their thoughts. So they just don't fall into the day-to-day and get bumped around, and next thing you know, they had a donut at work, there was a potluck, and they had pastries and enchiladas, that not zucchini enchiladas, by the way, the regular enchiladas, rice, beans, punch, Coke, sodas, cupcakes, all those things. It's the awareness that they're going to be able to bring back into their thoughts. So they're going to be able to stop and think about it. They're going to be able to challenge themselves, and they're going to be able to choose, like, is this aligned with what my fundamental choice is? So it's going to give them back control. It's going to give them control of their life and of their health. So stop, challenge, choose. Basically gives them power over their choices, because now they become aware of them. They may not even have been aware of those choices in the beginning to begin with. They may have just been reacting to stimulus and didn't know how they got to where they're at. Some people, some people don't even know how they got to be 30, 40 pounds overweight, because the last time they checked something, the last time they were aware of anything happening, instead of just going through day-to-day life, they were 30 pounds, 40 pounds down. Or they were at a younger age and they were doing the same things that they're doing now, but now that their metabolism slowed, they got a little older, things have caught up with them. So this gives them the power and the awareness over their choices. It puts them back in the driver's seat. See that? I like that one. But look at that, 10 and 2, all the dials are dialed in. They're on the highway. They're on the path to optimal health. Look at that. It's smooth sailing in front of them, nothing ahead of them. They're in control. They have their health back. Stop, challenge, choose. So how does this work? How does stop, challenge, choose really work? All right, so we see the little figure there. Came to a fork in the road. This little figure here is actually a grandmother with 4 little grandbabies. And she wants to be around for her grandbabies because they mean the world to her. They're her life. All of us that have kids, we know how it is for Grammy. I mean, basically, as their kid, we get kicked to the curb, and their grandchildren is where it's at. I mean, they still love us, but they love them, right? So this grandmother, she's the matriarch of the family, and these kids are her world. Her family is her world. This is how she identifies. So she wants to be around for as long as possible for her family. But what you don't know about Grammy is that Grammy, she makes a really mean cherry pie. Really mean. Dessert is Grammy's specialty. For the last 60 years of Grammy's life, she's 70 now, she learned at 10 years old how to make a killer cherry pie. I'm talking about warm, hot cherries. It's just full, whipped cream on top, maybe some little ice cream. She can make it nice and hot. There's loads it up with sugar. It's just, Grammy makes the best desserts. But Grammy enjoys the dessert as well. And she's been enjoying it for 60 years. And unfortunately now, Grammy's a type 2 diabetic. Grammy has high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Grammy doesn't know how much longer she's going to be around. Grammy's in a bad spot. And, she's had one of those come to Papa moments where she went to the doctor and the doctor has told her, your days can be numbered. If you don't do something now to take control of your life, pretty soon your kidneys are going to end up failing. You're going to, just the effects of diabetes, they're going to take over you, and you're not going to be able to last anymore. The medications are eating up her liver. She's going in a bad way. But Grammy has a goal, a fundamental choice that she has chosen is her family. She wants to be around. So Grammy needs to stop. She needs to stop, and she needs to become aware of her thoughts when she's in that situation, because when the Memorial Day barbecue comes up, like it's coming up this weekend, and she's in charge of making the dessert, is she connected to her why? Is she even thinking about her thoughts? Is she thinking about her family? Is she thinking about what she told you? Or is she just caught up in bad habits and on autopilot? So she needs to challenge herself, and she needs to ask herself, is that pie in line with the primary fundamental goal? So our job as a health coach is not to run and take that pie away from her. It's not to tell her not to go to the party. It's to make her aware of her thoughts and get reconnected to her why, so she can then choose what's more important to her. What's more important to her client? In this situation, what's more important to Grammy? Is it to be around longer for the grandkids and have more energy to run around with the family? Or is it the immediate gratification of that piece of pie right there? For 60 years, it's been the pie. So to think it's going to change in 1 week of her talking to you as the health coach, that's asking a lot. So we have to know, and we have to be able to teach Grammy how to deal with some of these situations in her mind. So we have to be able to give her some of the resources to help her. So yes, we can have the conversation about it, but we also have the ebook that Dr. A has that we can give to her. And we could just kind of play it out, and we can talk to them in our weekly touch points with them and just ask them, tell me about the challenges that you had this week. Tell me about the thought process that went into some of the decisions you made. And we want to then, recognize them for the good wins that they had. So maybe Grammy did take the cherry pie. Maybe she did. But maybe there was also Grammy's favorite ribs, her favorite burgers, her favorite sangria there. Maybe all those things were there, and she didn't have any of them, and she gave into the pie. You know what? She stopped and she challenged herself, and she made choices on the other things. You need to uplift her and recognize her for that. You need to recognize them for those little wins, because just like a muscle, this exercise, they're going to get stronger, and their mind's going to become stronger, and they're going to be able to, maybe not this first time, but as they continue to practice it, second, third, fourth, fifth, maybe the same thing comes up a month from now or a month and a half from Memorial Day, and it's 4th of July, and it's the same situation. And now Grammy has made a better choice, and she brought us salad to the barbecue instead of the cherry pie, And now she's leading with her health, and she's thinking about her grandkids, and she's gone to the doctor now a month later to get rechecked, and her numbers and sugars are starting to normalize, and her blood pressure is getting better, and now she's able to cut down some of those medications. So that's how it works. They stop, they take a breath, they become aware of their thoughts and get reconnected back to their why. They challenge their thought, like, is this in line with my fundamental choice of optimal health? They challenge that thought. Do I want the pie, or do I want my grandkids in my life? And now they get to choose what's more important. But it's something that they have to learn. And for everybody to learn it, it is different. It takes more time. But you have to realize as a coach, it's not you. It's their journey. It's their journey. It's their choices. All you can do is support and give them the tools and have them connected to the community as best that you can, and they make the choices. They're the ones in charge. So psychologically for you, you can't beat yourself up when a client falls off program, because it wasn't you. You didn't do anything. Stop thinking about yourself. It was them. It's always them. It's not you. It's always them. You did nothing other than the same support that you cared for them, obviously. You did some, but you did nothing different for the client that lost 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds than you did for the client that fell off. It's them, and it will always be them. Health is a choice, but it's not your choice. You choose for yourself, but they choose for themselves. All we can do is help them and arm them with some tools to be successful. So living a life of optimal health, just to kind of recap, you kind of see how the flow goes from the arrow. To get to their fundamental choice of optimal health, it starts with secondary choices. It starts with their action steps. It starts with the planning. It starts with the 5-in-1, the walking, the working out, the drinking of the water. It starts there. And then it's to hit those primary choices, those goals, those foundational components of health that we covered that you can get in chapter 4 of Dr. A's book. It starts those, hitting those and attaining those goals are going to lead to optimal health. And optimal health isn't something that you can always just grasp. Once you get there, it doesn't stop. Once you get there, it's not something that you can just grab onto. It's something that we're continually working towards and trying to get to. And it's like that carrot in front of you that you keep reaching for, because it's always going to be changing. It's always going to keep moving, because as we move through life, it's always going to go. So optimal health is something that we strive for and we're continually working for and trying to get to on a every day and continually through time. We're trying, as long as we're alive, that at least that's our goal, is to get there, is to aim for it, shoot for it, make more good choices than bad, to put us on a level, to be around for those that we care about, and to be as efficient as a human being that we can possibly be. So I'm going to finish up this section. I wanted to give you guys a quote, and then we can kind of get into some questions. And when we get into the questions, if we can all participate, I mean, we're all learning here. I'm learning, you're learning, everybody's learning. If anybody has any questions on how they work with different things or whatnot, we're going to keep those on record as well. But I wanted to give you this quote from Dr. A. Okay. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the inalienable rights that our forefathers determined to be a fundamental choice. To create optimal health, you need to make the fundamental choice to be healthy. Dr. A couldn't have said it any better. So now we're going to go into some questions. I'm going to take it out of the screen share, and if anybody has any questions over the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to be able to hopefully answer those for you. Let's see. Escape. Stop the share. All right. Can everybody see me? Are we back? All right. Good. All right. So what do we think? Go for it. I see the Fitzgeralds. Let me unmute you. Oh, there you go. Go for it.
So, Dom, first of all, thank you. You did an awesome job.
Thanks.
What kind of questions would you ask
Mm-hmm.
if you have a client who's struggling and you know, they've gotten off plan and they're kind of discouraged, and you want to get to them to kind of realize, okay, it's the primary choices you're making, and that, what are some questions that you might ask to get them to start thinking that way?
Well, first off, getting back in touch with them is a good thing. So that's good. But the kind of questions that I ask these individuals are, okay, tell me, has anything changed in your life? You know,
That's a good one.
Is what we talked about when you first decided to do the program and change your lifestyle, is that still important to you? Those ones I found to be very powerful, because a lot of times their why, they just need to get reconnected to it. So nothing has changed. Maybe they just lost sight of it, you know. Maybe they've told you that they need to lose, like I keep using the Grammy example, but maybe they told you they want to be around for their children. And if that's the case, then, you know, did something change? Is that still important to you? And then if it is, great. Let's get back on track. Let me show you how we can do that.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Who else?
Hey, Dom.
Yes.
Hey, man, great job, bro. Like, can you be my coach, man? That's great stuff, man. Honestly, I'm like, wow, blown away. So when you have, like, one of the questions when I'm doing an Explore call that gets a little awkward, is when I tell them, like, gosh, it was I did a screenshot when you were saying, like, what does optimal health look like to you?
Yes.
Because sometimes, you'll have someone that needs to lose 60, 70 pounds. So you kind of have a decent idea of what that's going to look like for them. But you sometimes have these folks that, like, maybe in your case, maybe in Rosie's case, where you don't have a huge amount of weight to lose. So when it comes to that question, they're kind of telling me, like, well, I'm not, it's not like I'm not unhealthy. How do you go about maybe structuring so that it fits them better?
Well, off the top of my head, uncensored, I want to ask them, well, why are we talking right now? There's a reason that you guys have somehow connected, okay? So what's the reason that they've reached out to you in the first place? What is it? And maybe you ask, maybe optimal health isn't the right question to ask in that scenario. Maybe it's another version of it. What are you looking to get out of a new lifestyle?
Okay.
Something like that. Maybe optimal health, maybe that can be a scary term, but just ask them, what are they looking to get from being in contact with me right now? Why did you contact me? And maybe we use that as a why. And you know what? If their why isn't strong enough, we're going to build on it with more questions after that, though. So what does it look like to you? Why did we reach out? Well, why did we do that? Tell me what that looks like to you. Tell me some of the things that you're looking to do or that you used to do that you're not able to do now because of it. Maybe it's simply looking good in a little black dress or something. Who knows,
Okay. Cool, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
If anybody else has a question, please come off mute. I'm trying to.
Dom, I have a question.
Yes.
Sometimes I know in the past I've gotten really attached to a client and their success. How do you help, a new coach like me not be so attached?
If you can help me, that would be great. No, I'm just kidding. Really, you have to talk to them about love and detachment and not being concerned with the outcome. Because if you're talking and you want it more than the other individual does, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So you can love on somebody, but the results, you have to realize they're out of your control. So all you can do is all you can do for yourself in knowing that, hey, I'm trying to support them. I gave them the tools, and you have to maybe it's personal development that you have to go through to realize that, hey, it's not me. It's them and it's their journey. And maybe it's, not being as selfish as an individual, because now you're thinking about you. If they're not doing well, you're thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about them. So realize that it's about their journey. Come from a place of love. Some people are going to take the ball from you when you pass it to them, and they're going to pass it back, and it's going to be good. Some people are going to miss the ball and run off the court. Anybody else have any questions, any comments towards this, anything that they're struggling with that they want to talk about? All right, go for it.
I have not really a question, but I guess I have some frustration level with, I'm trying to get my clients a little bit more fully integrated, in kind of like get into the habits of health calls and nurse calls. And I just kind of like how I jumped in and I just got involved, and I guess that's why I'm a coach now today, but then I have clients that are just like derailing every other day, or they love the fat burn, but then like 4 or 5 days later, they're out of fat burn, and then they feel like crap. And then I'm just like, I don't know what to do with them. It's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So I get frustrated, and I don't want to be frustrated.
I think we've all been there and been frustrated. I mean, I think it happens still. I mean, we've been coaching 3 years and we still get frustrated, but I keep coming back to you. You have to realize because it worked for you, maybe things around you were different in your situation than I mean, all of our situations are different. So they've had different experiences in their life than you had in your life. Maybe they're not sick and tired of being sick and tired yet. Maybe they thought they were. Maybe they thought they had their why, but maybe they're not really connected to that yet because maybe something hasn't happened to them yet that just made the lights go on, you know?
Well, I mean, for me, right in the middle of being a client, I was diagnosed with cancer and had a hysterectomy. And right in the middle of chemotherapy, I became a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So my drive and my
Wow.
why became really strong as to get healthy, you know, and that's kind of sparked and inspired a lot of people.
Yep.
But I guess until they get sick or, you know, like you said, sick and tired enough of it, then, but I wasn't sick and tired before I started Plan and I was still doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand that, like, once I got this diagnosis, I don't know, I just kind of got more passionate about my program.
Yeah.
And I didn't deviate prior to that, but I did have one slip on Super Bowl. But that was 6 months later, you know. I stopped challenge and choose, and I had a choice. And then I got right back on until my oncologist says you just have to do maintenance now. So now I'm back on 5 and 1 again.
Yeah. Well, first off, I mean, awesome. I mean, what you've gone through, that's awesome. I mean, your story, your passion now, I mean, super inspiring that you're able to go through that and now super focused and take your control of your life back. But for them, I mean, how many of us know somebody that was like a smoker their entire life and they finally stopped smoking when they ended up with something on their lung or something, you know? Or how many people do we know that, I mean, not saying anything about motorcycles, but ride motorcycles and then all of a sudden they get in a major accident and they shatter everything in their side of their body. And then they finally decide, hey, I'm going to stop riding it. You know, sometimes that needs to happen because that's just how some people are. I mean, some people are more aware and some people are just going through life reacting. They're just cruising through life with the fog and they don't know any better. Maybe they don't even realize that it's out of control. You can see it because you're close to health and you can see what good health is, but maybe they don't even know. Maybe we talked about microenvironments and communities. Maybe this is what they've known their whole life. So maybe they're out of their group. They are the healthy one out of their group, you know? Who knows what's around them? I mean, I hope my sister never watches this, but my sister, she's not on the program, but from where she was 10 years ago, she's super unhealthy to where she is now. She's super unhealthy now, but in her group of friends, she's the petite one. Even though she's probably 30 pounds overweight, she's the petite one. She's the one that's the pretty doll or whatnot. And all of her friends are the ones that are very, very unhealthy, that are teetering on, you know, who knows what can happen? Who knows if they're going to be here tomorrow? She's lost friends to death at random heart attacks and things like that. So maybe they feel, hey, I'm healthy enough. They just don't know. So
Right.
all you can do is just be there for the support. And in the beginning, when you're having those conversations as to why they're starting the program or whatnot, just try to dig in a little bit more. It's not always about weight. You know, ask them about more about their health. It could be medications. It could be conditions that they have. Ask deeper questions when it comes to that part to try to get them in the state to see if they can realize what's important to them, because you're not going to get them to do anything. Ultimately, it's going to be their choice.
Right. With a client check-in earlier today, somebody who just kind of went off for a couple of days, she's like, oh, I'm so tired. And I liked how I felt like 2 weeks ago. And I said, I mean, like when you were in fat burn? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, let's get back there. If you like that feeling, let's go there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why are you dragging your butt right now? You know? So she's like, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. And maybe she's just not ready yet. Maybe it's just not as important to her. I mean, even though she likes the feeling, maybe she still has the old habits that she wants more. The pain isn't pushing her enough yet.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
All right, we got another minute or two for questions, guys. So,
I have a question.
yeah.
Hey, so I have a client that he recently had something that affected him pretty seriously right when he began the program, and he's not really wanting to reach out anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess how can you still be sympathetic, but still be like, come on, you did this for a reason?
Yeah. Well, even though you know the reason why they started, or at least they told you, until they can reconnect with it, you're never going to be able to do it. So all you can do is just be as supportive and available as possible. I wouldn't call them 30 times. Hey, get back on the phone because you need to get healthy because you told me this, but I would still, maybe send a message. Hey, our client appreciation call is this week. Hey, this week's habit of health is this, and just keep dripping on them, letting them know that you're still around, because when they're ready, they're going to hear your message. Because even if you're saying all the right things in the world to them, if they're in the wrong place, they're never going to hear it. But if they're in the right place, you could say, hey, eat the magic food and do this, and it's going to change everything. And you could just throw up all over them. You could say all the wrong things to them. But if they're ready and they're in the right place, they're going to come and they're going to change. So you just have to continue to be there and be supportive for them. And when they're ready, they will come. Like if you build it, they will come. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Dominic, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So as a new coach like I am, I've been hearing whispering that national convention this year is going to be really important for our clients.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? And, because I'm not very sure.
So this year, unlike any other year, they're having specific breakout rooms and specific agendas for our clients. So they can become and they can see, well, not even become, but so they can see what we're all about, what our community is about, what the support that they have behind them is all about. So right now, they have the opportunity to turn in stories, possibly get free tickets to convention through tracking their health. But this is something that the company has never, ever done before. So it's super exciting, because it's been asked for and it's been heard that they need to have something, because if they can see it and they can see what our community is all about, it's just going to be able to help them on their journey and keep them more focused. All right. Anything else? Yes. Anything else?
When would you use the behavioral health staff people? Like, when would you ever be talking to a client and know that you need them?
Well, first off, we're not doctors, right? So we're not trying to take the place of a doctor or anything like that. And so we use different types of that type of support, behavioral. So there's the doctor's calls, nurses calls, things like that. Whenever an individual has maybe a certain medical condition, and what do you do? I'm sorry, Jennifer. What besides health coaching? What were you in previously or anything like that?
I lead a training and quality for a global travel organization.
All right, perfect. So travel, but the background isn't necessarily in medicine or health or anything like that. But have you lost any weight on the program?
Yeah.
How much have you lost?
59 pounds.
59 pounds, right? So you may not be a doctor or anything like that, but you know how to lose 59 pounds. So you can tell an individual how to do that. But when it gets kind of outside of the scope of maybe some of the bars and some of the foods and carbohydrates and proteins, things like that, when it gets into a medical condition, or when it gets into, frankly, something that you don't know, that could be a time where you direct them to one of those calls, or you reach out to nutrition support. Some clients, all right, everybody has a different cultural background, right? some people eat some stuff that I've never even heard about, and they're asking me about milkfish and stuff like that. I don't know. I didn't even know what a milkfish was until I sent it to nutrition support. I sent an email to them. I had the clients email them too, and they came back with responses to everybody about, hey, this is what it is. This is how much they can have, or maybe they can't have it. So when it doesn't fall into the scope of the everyday, maybe you helping them with motivation, or maybe it's a little bit beyond the bars and a technical question, feel free to go ahead and get them in contact with them. And you can work very closely with those people, those departments or whatnot. Say you have a client that has diabetes or something, but you've never ran an individual through that program. I mean, besides the guide and yourself, maybe you don't know about it, but it's a good time to just ask questions and they'll give you a rundown. They'll get involved and they'll help.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys, it is 7:02. I want to thank you all for being on the call, being on the Zoom. I really appreciate your guys' time. I hope it came out well. I hope you guys got something you can take to help your clients get through some of these tough spots. If you have anything, you have any other questions, post it. This is going to be posted in 0 to 5. So once the recording gets posted, feel free to tag in there. The questions, post the questions in there. If you have anything else, if you want to share it with some of your other coaches that maybe weren't on, feel free to go ahead and do that. But hopefully it'll be in there a little bit later today.
Love it. Thanks so much, Dom. This was the best one ever, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamil.